Hey English 1102 friends, this is Professor Sullins. We're going to do a couple of poems in this video. The first one is Hanging Fire by Audre Lorde, and the other one is 3510 by Sharon Olds. These both go in the Innocence and Experience module for our class. So I'm just going to go through them as quickly as I can and point out some important stuff to you. If you have questions, you can always be in touch with me. We're going to go in the reverse order I just said. The reason I put these two poems together is they both have to do with being very specific ages. 3510 is about a mom who is 35, the daughter who is 10 years old. Hanging Fire is about being 14 years old. So right in the middle of the 3510. 3510, like I said, the mom's 35, the daughter's 10 years old. So you got the mom brushing the daughter's hair in this poem. Sharon Olds, relatively famous American poet, still alive at the time that I'm making this video, though she's in her 70s, but one of the most famous living American poets for sure. Brushing out our daughter's brown silken hair before the mirror, I see the gray gleaming on my head. So you got the juxtaposition of the mom brushing the daughter's brown hair and then the gray in her hair. I see the gray gleaming on my head, the silver-haired servant behind her. Why is it just as we begin to go, they begin to arrive? This is one of the central ideas of this poem. The mom just beginning to go, the mom beginning to age, beginning to get older, beginning to move out of the period of time when she could have kids, and then they begin to arrive, the kids begin to arrive, the daughter's about to go into like puberty and adolescence, she's about to begin to become the adult she's going to be. So they're at these sort of opposite ends of this moment. Why, just as we begin to go, they begin to arrive. The fold in my neck clarifying as the fine bones of her hips sharpen. So the mom's getting this sort of like wrinkles and age, signs of age, and the daughter's getting the first signs of hips, like I said, of puberty. As my skin shows its dry pitting, she opens like a moist, precise flower on the tip of the cactus. So like the mom's skin's getting a little drier, the daughter's getting that sort of adolescent oil on her skin. As my last chances to bear a child are falling through my body, the duds among them. So this is just a basic biological information. The mom's talking about like her eggs and her ability to have children. Like sort of the biological clock is running out for her in that sort of traditional sense of the way people talk about biological clock for women. The duds among them, her purse full of eggs, round and firm as hard-boiled yolks, is about to snap its clasp. So again, the daughter is at this is about to enter adolescence, about to enter puberty. You get this sort of egg imagery here. Sharon, one of the things Sharon's Olds is sort of famous for is this intense, vivid imagery, and you're getting it with the eggs here for sure. I brush her tangled, fragrant hair at bedtime. So now we're back where we started with that image that we started from of just she's taking you through all these, hip bones and eggs and all this stuff. And now we're just back to brushing the hair. I brush her tangled, fragrant hair at bedtime. So she sort of circles you back to that beginning, that initial like instigating image. It's an old story, the oldest we have on our planet, the story of replacement. And so at the end, the mom is like the narrator, the speaker in the poem makes this connection to this much larger sort of cycle of life. The oldest story we have on the planet, just as we begin to go, they begin to arrive. And so your children sort of replace you and keep the cycle going. A pretty simple poem about, what she does is take that image of the mom brushing the child's hair and use it to jump off into these sort of bigger ideas about that sort of cycle and parts and pieces, signs of beginning to go and beginning to arrive. Hanging Fire by Audre Lorde, the speaker in this poem is the 14-year-old. It's not the mom brushing the kid's hair. It is the kid. It's the 14-year-old. I am 14. And this poem is very invested in the idea of what it means to be 14 years old and like sort of in middle school or early high school and be like a late adolescent and just be sort of awkward and feel out of place and feel uncomfortable in your own skin. This poem is all about that idea and that image. I am 14 and my skin has betrayed me. You often, when you're like 13, 14, 15, you have bad skin, you have acne, stuff like that. My skin has betrayed me. The boy I cannot live without still sucks his thumb. So she's got a crush on this boy, but he's got this weird habit, And the boy I cannot live without still sucks his thumb in secret. How come my knees are always so ashy? Again, these sort of skin problems of being an adolescent, puberty. What if I die before morning? You know, when you're young, you can't imagine, you know, what it's going to look like to grow up and be old, or even become an adult. Before morning, and mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. And over again, especially when you're an adolescent, you feel like your parents can't relate to you, you can't relate to them, you can't talk to them about your problems. That's sort of like, I'm an adolescent, you know, angst and weirdness and stuff like that. So you feel like your parents can't help you, and they don't even know what's going on with you. I have to learn how to dance in time for the next party. My room's too small for me. Suppose I die before graduation. They will sing sad melodies, but finally tell the truth about me. Again, all these adolescent concerns. You don't know how to dance for the next party. You know, you're afraid something bad's going to happen. You're afraid that everybody secretly doesn't like you, or doesn't really tell you how they feel about you, that you don't really know what anybody thinks. There's nothing I want to do, and too much that has to be done. There's all this angst, you know, like you got all this energy when you're young. You're sort of all cooped up. You just feel restless all the time. And again, mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. Again, your parents have no idea all your adolescent angst and turmoil and trouble. Nobody even stops to think about my side of it. Again, you feel like when you're an adolescent, when you're young, you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets your point of view, nobody wants to hear it. I should have been on the math team. My marks were better than his. Why do I have to be the one wearing braces? Again, all these adolescent concerns. I have nothing to wear tomorrow. Again, like you just don't like any of your clothes. You don't feel comfortable in your clothes. I have nothing to wear tomorrow. Will I live long enough to grow up? You're like, again, you can't imagine growing up, becoming an adult. Every day feels so long. And mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. Again, and your parents have no clue what you're going through, and you feel like you can't talk to them, and they wouldn't understand you. So the poem has 3 stanzas. It always comes back to that mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. But it's all this list of like being an adolescent or early teenager and having all these kinds of concerns and feeling isolated and restless and awkward in your own skin. This poem's really just about being 14 and all the concerns that feel so big at that time. And later, they won't be big at all. But in that moment, it feels like life and death every day. So I hope this video helps you understand these 2 poems. Again, always be in touch if you've got questions or don't understand some part of it, or want to know more about Audre Lorde, who has died, or Sharon Olds, who's still alive. Otherwise, thank y'all.